Hi, my name is Tommaso.
And my name is Chris.
Welcome to HEARIN'spire. If you're considering living abroad for a short or a long period, you are in the right place. In this podcast, we will share our personal experiences and tell how stressful, but also amazing, it can be to move your whole life to a different country. Stay tuned. So welcome everyone to the next Inspire podcast, and today we have episode 2. My name is Chris. I will host the show today, and I'm very excited because today I have two exciting guests with me here in the room. It's Martina.
Hello.
And it's Callan.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Perfect, nice. I'm very excited because I think it's gonna be a nice recording. And what the idea is at the beginning is I will, as a kind of breaking the ice approach, I will shoot to you 10 quick questions, and you have a choice between A and B. And the idea is to answer intuitively and as quick as possible, so that the listeners and the viewers, they can get to know you a little bit superficially, and then later on we dive into a bit more your story. All right, I think we start. Should we start with you, Martina?
Yeah,
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, Martina. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Car or bike?
Car.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Mountains or sea?
Mountains.
Bitter or sweet?
Sweet.
Live concert or Spotify?
Live concert.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
And television or Netflix?
Netflix. I guess Netflix, yeah.
All right, thank you. That was quick.
Yeah.
Well done. So we hand over to Callan, and we...
Yep, let's get it going.
The same beginning. Okay, Callan, are you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, television or Netflix?
Anything with sports, so probably television.
Television, winter or summer?
Definitely summer.
Spotify or live concert?
Spotify.
Sweet or bitter?
Sweet.
Sea or mountain?
Sea.
Tea or coffee?
Probably tea.
Bike or car?
Car, definitely.
And beer or wine?
Red wine.
Pasta and pizza?
Pasta.
And dogs or cats?
Definitely cats.
Cats. All right, interesting. So I think we know you already a little bit. And now I would like to give you kind of the word to introduce you in a few sentences where you're coming from, where you right now, where's your project, and like a 1-2 sentence.
Okay. Should I start?
Yes, Martina.
Okay, so I'm Martina Cherubin. I'm from Italy, the beautiful city of Venice, actually. And I moved to Brussels in September 2020 for my PhD at UCB Biopharma. And that's all, I guess.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm Callan Wesley. I'm originally from South Africa. I'm based in Antwerp at the University of Antwerp with a couple other of our colleagues, and that's where I'm based for the next couple of years. I moved here at the same time as Martina around August, September 2019, I believe 2020, I believe it is. So yeah, that's just basically about me.
Full pandemic.
Full pandemic mode, yeah.
All right, excited. So I see already that you both are based in Belgium right now, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
All right. So as a first question, out of curiosity, have you guys ever been on a podcast?
Okay. No, never. And it's actually exciting.
I've never been on a podcast. I agree it's exciting, but as we were discussing between ourselves earlier, we've watched many podcasts and think it's a very, very interesting thing that you got going here.
Yeah, that's the idea, especially if you keep into account there might be 10,000 of people listening right now to our story. So I think we all a little bit excited. And to get the podcast a little bit going, the first question, since you moved both to Belgium, right? So have you been to Belgium before you actually started the PhD project?
Well, actually, no. I always wished to be there because I was living in the UK, so actually it's 2 hours by train from there. So I was like still having this dream about Belgium. I don't know why. Maybe it was because of the beers. I don't know. But yeah, it was it was something that it was there. So I had to experience at first.
For me, I had never been to Belgium before. I probably wouldn't even be able to pick it out on a map. And yeah, just ended up here, cross fingers, hope for the best. And then so far, so good. But never had visited before. No.
Yeah, that brings me to the next question. So, what was the first impression actually from the country, but also the people here not here, but in Belgium?
Well, maybe the first impression was a little bit biased because of the corona situation. So it was not very easy. Like everything was closed, curfew. So not the best situation to move to a new country and don't know the language, because in Brussels at least they speak French and Dutch. And I'm not a French or Dutch speaker, just know English. And it's quite difficult with the French speaker, let's say, to interact in another language. So it was difficult, but then, I mean, it's just a question of adapting. So the first months were difficult, but then I met some friends, obviously Italian, so Italian sticks together, they say. And yeah, it was actually quite nice. And now the situation after 2 years is way more better because you get to know more the city and there are more events, so it's much more better.
And you said already that, of course, there's a language barrier. So did you manage to pick up a little bit of the language here, or not here, but in Belgium in general?
Yeah, well, French is very similar to Italian, so at least for understanding it's quite easy. But then, yeah, I had some courses of French, so French definitely yes. As about Dutch, it's an all new word, and I don't think I will never learn that. It's a little bit difficult.
And in Belgium, and not in Belgium, in Brussels, is it more Dutch or more French?
It's more French, even if it's like in a Flanders part. So, but it's French.
So it's more easy for you then.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Okay, for you, Callan. Yeah, same question.
Same question. What was my initial thoughts of coming to Belgium?
Yeah.
I would say, same as Martina said, we arrived in the middle of the pandemic, so it made everything a lot more harder to find friends, to really engage in the society and everything like that. But prior to that, I was living in Norway, and I could say that you could pick up the cultural differences straight away, because there it's in the streets, in the public, everyone you see, they try and avoid any form of like communication or interaction at all costs. It's just their society, how they've been raised and upbrought. So it was quite nice also in Belgium, even though it was a small city in Antwerp, to have everyone around. Everyone was much more friendlier. You could always talk to people and that. So I would say it was very nice. I was very happy. It was at least a bigger city from where I was living in Norway, so that was also exciting, like more opportunities, more people, more things to do, and to explore something completely different. As I said, I'd never been to the country before, so all in all, I would say the first impressions were very positive.
All right, that sounds exciting. And you touched upon already. You mentioned it, the corona situation. I think we all in the Inspire family, in the Inspire project, we had to deal with the corona. And I think you started your project before the first lockdown. Was it, or was it the second lockdown or third? What was it?
I think it was in the middle of the second lockdown, if I'm not mistaken.
It was just at the end of the first one, because it ended in May, the first one of 2020, and we started in September, so it was like almost at the start of the next one.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
And like speaking of the different lockdowns we all experience in Europe and the rest of the world, how was your experience during the corona lockdown? Also, like for personal living environment situation, how did you deal with it?
You mean the very first lockdown?
The first lockdown you had in Belgium, let's say.
Okay.
Like after starting your project.
Okay. Well, I joined UCB, I said, September 2020, and basically the first part of my PhD was literature review. So basically, like, read a lot of papers, find out more about what's going on in my field of expertise. So basically, it was a lot of home office, so not very much social interaction, let's say, with colleagues or even with the supervisor, because you couldn't go and meet these people in person if you didn't have the rights to go there for working in the lab and so on. So it was more like a isolating environment, and it was quite difficult at the very beginning. But then since you start to work in the lab, you have to go every day to work, and at least lab-based people were there every day, so you can. At least I started making more friends and with my colleagues there at the time. And yeah, it was tough, but it got better, let's say. Yeah. So yeah.
And for you, Colin, did you Did you have same experience, different experience?
I would say in the beginning it was very, very tough, especially the couple months prior to me coming to Belgium. I was at home, so I was with my family, spending every single minute of every day during the lockdown we're currently having there. Then to get on a plane, through all the protocols, through the visas, through everything you had to get, especially coming from South Africa, to allow me into Belgium during a pandemic was a nightmare on itself. So then by the time I got to Belgium, I had to also quarantine for 2 weeks by myself in this small little Airbnb that was probably like 15, 16 square meters, where I had to stay for 2 weeks. So it was already there. It was quite mentally challenging, if I could call it that. But then luckily I managed to engage in the work. We got special exemptions to be able to go to work with everything that we were doing. So at least you had some sort of interaction there. But then it got a little bit worse again with the lockdown. So they made pretty much everything telework, unless it was very, very brutal and you had to go into the lab, because most of, like we were saying, we're doing literature reviews and everything like that. So you could work from home, but not being around people, not being able to like dive into the society, make friends and everything, I'd say definitely was a challenge, but it was a small sacrifice everyone had to make for the bigger picture of the population. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. So there's a nice illustration how actually Corona affected not only you but basically all of us. And beside Corona, so did you, because you moved to a different country, right? So you're coming from the South African country, you're from Italy. So were there any other barriers to make the first steps in a new country, besides Corona, besides the language?
I would say it's always hard when you're picking up and moving to a completely different country, especially in the beginning. I always found I'm very introverted in the beginning. Like, you don't want to go and introduce yourself to people, don't want to go talk to people and everything like that. But coming from South Africa, there's a Dutch influence on it, so it can a klein bietjie Afrikaans praat. So even though it's not Dutch, you can kind of have a communication with them. Will be like, oh, I can speak some Afrikaans and things like that. So that was just always the icebreaker. Or as soon as people hear you from South Africa, they find it interesting, start talking. So that was at least a way to break the ice and talk to colleagues and try and make some friends when you're out and about. So I don't know about you.
Well, for me, in my experience, it was a little bit different. At least for me, the biggest thing was the food at the beginning, because of course, like Italian people, like food, I don't know, there's like always these things. So, but luckily in Brussels, it's a very international city, so you find a lot of shops with Italian products. So for me, it was like kind of try to feel in at home, you know. So it was tough, and also like. For the bureaucracy, it was crazy, like going to the bank, try to understand like all these things in another language. I don't even know this thing in Italian. So how could I understand this thing in another language? So it was a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, I'm here, I managed, so, and I'm still alive. So apparently something good I did so at the time.
Yeah, I think we all managed somehow, so that's good. So for everyone listening and probably thinking about doing the same things, it's a challenge. It's hard, but we can do it. We can manage it. And you brought up a nice topic about food, which brings me to another interesting question. Since you left your country, of course, is there something particular you miss from your home country, besides for you, Martina, besides the food?
Well, of course, like my friends, and I don't know. It's a different story because Italian people, at least, they are more warm people. I don't know how to say. Like when you see them, I feel like I'm in my community. I'm more connected to people, and sometimes I feel the people are colder in northern countries. I don't know, like they have their own communities, and I don't like to mix. So and also obviously my friends there, like, and also probably the country itself, you know. I mean, so, no, but yeah, I mean, Italy is beautiful. What can I say? So,
like you're talking about the weather or what?
yeah,
like,
the
landscape,
the sun, definitely, and yeah, landscapes like Sicily, like to go on summer vacation, but also winter mountains. Like Belgium is pretty much like the same. You don't have a lot of variations. So
like you mean like flat?
Yeah, it's flat. Like, I mean, you have a little bit of hills, but that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, like, you get used to it, you know, especially the rain. It's something very tough at the very beginning. But yeah. And you, Callan?
I would say probably the biggest thing was the temperature change and the weather, because I'm from the east coast of South Africa. Pretty much 10 minutes away from the beach. So year round, you're wearing shorts, t-shirts, flip-flops on your feet. So you don't really have to worry about the wind or the rain or anything like that. And in the beginning, the clothes I bought from South Africa, I realized very quickly they weren't made for the winter, or they weren't made for like the Belgian type of rain. So as soon as you come here, you wear it outside and you're going to be like, oh wait, I actually have to go get a whole new wardrobe, get clothes that are actually applicable to wear in this type of climate. But I would say definitely the weather would be the thing I miss the most. But luckily, the last couple of weeks, we've had some good weather in Belgium and the Netherlands now. So yeah, can't complain too much.
Yeah, right now entering the summer, I think it's more like feeling in Italy and South Africa.
Yeah,
At least like
That's not true.
weather-wise.
but I also think the positive thing, especially where I'm from in South Africa, the day-night cycle is very consistent. But I quite like the fact here in the summer, like last night we were walking around 11 o'clock at night and it's still quite light outside. So you get more energy from it. I suppose the flip side is during the winter when it's a complete opposite, but at least for the summers we can take full advantage of it and get a lot more out of the day.
Definitely.
And how many times do you actually visit your home country, like in a year? How many?
Since I moved, you mean?
Yeah, since you in Belgium.
At least 3 times per year, I guess.
And then like just for couple
For
of days or weeks.
no, for holidays like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Like at least Christmas and summer, it's like 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe some spare days during Easter or whatever. Like some weekends maybe if I can.
And for you, Callan, since there's a bit
The travel's a little bit longer.
difference, the
Yeah.
distance is a bit.
I think in the beginning, or at least the first year when the pandemic was going on, it was maybe once, twice maximum a year, because every time I came back, I'd have to quarantine for 14 days, get another COVID test. Depending on that, you have to continue your quarantine or not. But now that the pandemic's in a much better place and a better situation, I would say maybe 3-4 times maximum. Not necessarily going home, but going to the countries my family live in, spending some time with them. So very grateful for that.
All right. So then we are basically at the end of the podcast of the second episode.
It went quite quickly, actually.
It's going quickly, yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
we
flying
I
by.
still have a question actually, because we might have listeners who are thinking about joining an ITN like Inspire, or in general thinking about moving to a different country for study purposes or for work after the PhD. So since you've done it already, moving from your country to a new country, is there anything you would advise these people, or what would you do differently when moving to a new country?
In my opinion, personally, I would say let's do it. Like, just go for it. I mean, this kind of opportunity comes once in a lifetime, and just going out from your own country, going out from your comfort zone, it could always help you. So do it, challenge yourself, and something good will come out eventually. So do it.
So you would do exactly the same thing as you did here, or?
Probably, maybe. No, I'm joking. No, I will do it. Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say pretty much exactly the same advice to Martina. If you get the opportunity, just take the plunge and go for it. I know many people I speak to, they think, oh, maybe I'm not clever enough, maybe I'm not capable enough. But it's like they say, you just say yes, you figure it out on the process. You meet so many amazing people on the way. And like when you're older, sitting in that rocking chair, rather have the experiences and the just everything you've experienced. Like I think these last 2 years have been crazy. Like the friends we've made, the stuff we've been able to do together, not necessarily only in work, but the stuff out of it. It's like you said, once in a lifetime opportunity, and really, really highly recommend it.
And I would say also for a connection point of view, at least these kind of networks help you to connect a lot with a different kind of people, different kind of environment, like academia and that industry. So it's very great for your CV and also for your future opportunities.
And do you just popping up a new question? Do you have a feeling that it somehow personality-wise it advances you, like going to a new country, new language, new colleagues?
For sure. Look at Callan.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
He's not even able to cook, and now at least he's still alive. So he survived. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say exactly the same as Martina. It forces you to adapt because you have a moment. Like I know for me, before I came, you have many sleepless nights, very anxious nights, like what's going to happen. And then when you're in that situation, it's like a sink or float type situation. And I think everyone, when they put in that situation, they just got to try and make the absolute best of it. And like Martina says, like I can't even cook, but somehow I've still survived to this point. So if I can do it, pretty much anyone can do it.
That's a good take-home message. All right, so
Take a message. Follow the money.
follow money. All right, okay. That's quote by
Cut.
Martina. Now bring me to my very very last question. Since we're doing this first time together, like the podcast, like I'm the first time on a podcast, hosting a podcast. You doing the first time of podcast. So how are you feeling right now? How was it for you?
It was very nice. You are a great host.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're a great host, and I think it's nice to connect with people on a personal level and for people to watch. Like I know many of the podcasts I watch, it's not necessarily for a specific topic or a specific subject. It's just nice to see the people's experiences and what they think of it, not necessarily only in their field of interest, but outside of it. Like I wish there was something around like this when I was thinking about should I do a PhD, hearing other people's experiences and see like, okay, look at the amazing time they've had. Like even through the colleagues we've met, like going to different countries together, exploring with each other, like it's just amazing.
All right, that is a good ending point, and I would like to very thank you, boss, for being a guest here.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've been a great host.
Thank you very much, and for the listener and for the viewers, thanks for joining us, and I see you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.